Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
We are back for our midweek Torah class. This week, for our Torah class, for our Torah class, we use the JPS because we're using our textbook, our Pentateuch, which has some of the rabbinic commentary, which we'll refer to from time to time. But I wanted to just say that. So we'll go ahead and begin, and we'll read the first 4 verses of Leviticus 19.
It says, And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, You shall be holy, for I, Yahweh your Elohim, am holy. Ye shall fear every man, his mother, and his father, and you shall keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Turn ye not unto the idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am Yahweh your Elohim.
Okay, all right, very good. So, first of all, the first thing I wanted to look at actually is from the, well, let's do this. Let's go to verse 2. Let's go to verse 2 because we want to talk about Kedoshim, the actual word, the title for the portion. So you want to break that down before we go into anything else. So let's go over here. Let's pull up our Leviticus 19. If you're in our textbook, that's going to be page 497. All right, so in verse 2, we look over here, speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, You shall be holy. Holy. Right over here, this word.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're cracking me up.
Kadosh. Kadosh.
Where's that?
If we see it
What
in
verse are
the
we looking
text,
at?
it's verse 2.
The Daber.
It
Yahweh,
is Kedoshim. So it's going to be it's going to be on the second line, which is on the next page. Israel.
Daber El.
Via Marta Elohim Kadoshim. So they pluralize this kadosh here. It's translated as you shall be holy. It's translated as you shall be holy. The word here is holies. It's referring to the people in that the Most High, the people, Israel should be holy. They should be holy as a nation, as a people, holy. And again, that word there, kadosh, sacred, ceremonially or morally. Saint, sanctuary. What we want to do is look at this word here, kadash. To be, to make, pronounce, or observe as clean, set apart, consecrated, dedicated, hallowed, to be or to keep holy, purify, sanctify, or sanctified. And so the word that's translated as holy basically it brings about the idea of being set apart for a particular purpose. dedicated. I have a dedicated shelf in the kitchen that I want my stuff to be put on, and I don't want nobody else's stuff to be put on it.
Except for Africa's.
Except for Africa's.
Well, she has one basket.
She has one little corner of my shelf that she's able to put her stuff on. But nobody else is dedicated, is consecrated for particular purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we think about holiness,
Mm-hmm.
the Most High said, you need to be holy because I am holy. The way that he is, he wants for people to be the way that he is. Now that's in regards to his character, right? He don't want for us to turn into non-corporal beings and become ethereal and float away, right? Because he is a spirit.
Hell yeah.
We actually are corporal beings. We're physical. We have flesh and bone and blood. And so when he says that we need to be like he is referring to his character. When it talks about us being created in his image, it's in regards to the way in which we behave and act and move and consider things and all of that. So when we talk about the idea of being holy as he is holy, we have to live our lives in a particular way. And so this is like a heading. It's like a heading. It's like a title. It's like a thesis statement for what's going to continue. You be holy because I am holy, and this, what I'm getting ready to say to you, is the way in which you can manifest holiness. Okay? So that's what we see over here. Here, let me pull the verses
So
back
in
up.
order to be holy, does a person need to know Yahweh?
Yes, absolutely. Right? Because what he's saying is what? You shall be holy, for I am holy. So whatever it is that you shall be, you are going to be being things that are like unto the Most High.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know who he is, if you don't know how it is that he's holy, then how then can you be holy? It's interesting when we think about the laws, statutes, and commands, because we talked about this a little bit last week when we looked in the book of Romans, where it talks about the fact that the law is spiritual. The law is spiritual and holy, it says. The law is spiritual and is holy. But then yet and still, it says, don't eat this animal. Wash your body. Perform these various physical acts. Pick this animal up and move it and take it over to a particular place and cut it. You're doing all these physical things, but the law is spiritual. Because we have to be able to see what the law is causing for us to do. We talk about the least of the commandments. It's traditionally said that the least commandment is the commandment that talks about the bird and the nest and the eggs, not to remove the mother and the eggs from the nest. If you roll up on a nest with a mother and eggs, don't wipe out everything. They call that the least commandment. However, when you're doing the least of the commandments, it's actually showing you're actually manifesting compassion. You're having compassion for the lineage of that bird. You want that bird's lineage to be able to continue. You don't want to stop it. You'll take the mother and let the eggs grow up, and then they can continue. Or you'll take the eggs and let the mother have more eggs, instead of wiping out everything. And so you're exhibiting compassion when you do that. So the same thing is true when we look at these commands. These commands are telling us, don't do this, do that, wash this, cleanse that. But we have to be able to look at the spiritual components to really understand what it is that the scriptures is causing for us to do. Because if these laws are calling for us to do these certain things, here, let me just say this.
This is a Direct Akkad exclusive.
Okay, so when we keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, we are walking out the character of the Most High in doing so. And so when we look at these commandments and they're telling us, don't do this, do that, wash this, throw this away, smash this up, never use this again. When we do these things, it's causing us to manifest the character, because there is no bowls or water or blood and things in the heavenlies.
Hallelujah.
He's causing for us to do these earthly things that mimic those things which are in the spirit.
Right.
Okay, so let's go back over to the text because we want to.
I was actually thinking of something.
Okay, go ahead.
I was thinking about the verse in 1 John, which says, "He who says he believes, he who wait, I actually pulled it up. Okay, 1 John 2 verse 6. He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also so to walk even as he walked." And so that's talking about Yeshua, and just thinking about how if we're followers of him, then we should be exhibiting the same character that he has and that he's showing us to do.
Yeah,
or to be.
Yeah, you have to. If you're not doing that, then you're doing something else. Yeshua's the door.
Oh yeah.
You can't get in by no other way. If you get in by some other way, you a thief and you a robber. And so when we look at the character of the Most High, Yeshua was the perfect example of that. And so how somebody gonna sit up here and say that he did away with the laws whenever the laws is the character of the Most High? So he did away with the character of the Most High? No, he didn't.
That's why, like what you were saying, the law is spiritual.
The law is spiritual. That's what we gotta understand. It's not some carnal thing. Paul said the law is spiritual and it is holy. All right, so let's go to the text because, you know what? Let's go to the textbook because I wanted to read from something in the textbook here. This is a very interesting little thing here. My nails clean. Clean enough. Oh, look at this.
I was trying to find your guide.
Oh no, I got lost. All right, so this remarkable chapter occupies the central position in Leviticus and therefore in the Pentateuch. The rabbis rightly regarded it as the kernel of the law and declare that the essentials of the Torah are summarized therein.
Wait, hold on.
You don't
The
got your
kernel?
textbook?
I have it right here.
The kernel, like like
I like that.
like a corn
Well,
kernel.
whenever I was an actuary,
Mm-hmm.
the kernel of a rate was like the base. It's like the basic thing, and then you would basically make all kinds of adjustments to that, very basic thing. You know what I mean? But everyone started with that basic thing.
Yes, that's
Every single rate started with that.
That's just English right there, kernel, right?
Yes.
We think about kernels,
The
we think
inside
about
of
the corn, but that kernel of the corn is like that's the crux of it, right?
Kernel.
Here, I'll pull it up on Webster's 1828 dictionary, but let me finish reading this part here.
Essential or most important part of something.
That's it. Because, but then, and this is why. This chapter has in fact been looked upon as a counterpart of the Decalogue itself, the Ten Commandments being, in essence, repeated in its verses. The Roman numerals are the number of commandments. So 1 and 2, the first and second commandment in verse 4. The third commandment in verse 12. The fourth and fifth commandment in verse 3. 4, 5, 6. The sixth commandment in verse 16. The seventh commandment in verse 29. The eighth and ninth commandment in verses 11 through 16. And the 10th commandment in verse 18. And so it's interesting when we look at this chapter here. Again, we're able to see the 10 commandments repeated for us in this chapter.
That's a new thing for me. We always go to Deuteronomy chapter 5.
Right, where it's literally right there, right? But here, you have all of the commands, but it's not kind of just set up for you just like that. All right, so let's go back over to. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up
What
right
happened?
there.
Oh, it wasn't shown.
I didn't even show it.
Oh, you know what? I did. I should have paid attention to that. I was so looking at my own book that.
I know.
Oh, well.
I said all of that based on this here. I'm not gonna read it again, but
I can't see that. Okay.
I had it right there. Maybe if you're watching this, rewatching it, you can
Pause it.
Yeah, you can pause it. You can read this, and then you can carry on. All right, so let's go back to the. Let's go back. That's it. That's all you get, right? All right, so let's go back to the text and let's look at verse 3. Verse 3. Here, read verse 3 again for us.
It says, "Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and ye shall keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahweh your Elohim."
Okay, very good. So we see over here, right? We see commandment. We see the fourth and the fifth commandment over here, right? You shall fear every man his mother and his father, and you shall keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahweh your Elohim. I want to look at this. I want to know what Exodus. I want to know what Exodus chapter 20. I want to look at Exodus 20. I don't know what verse it is. 5. Okay. Verse 12. Read verse 12.
"Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days be along upon the land which Yahweh your Elohim giveth thee.
Okay, very good. Okay, when the Most High spoke on Mount Sinai, when there was thunderings and lightnings and smoke and thunders, he said, honor your father and thy mother. Okay. When we go over here to Leviticus, we look at Leviticus chapter 19. I don't think I was on. Oh, that's 18. I need to go to the next chapter. I can't see that. That's so far. 19 is right here. He said he got mother first. You see how he put the mother first right here?
Oh.
That's interesting. Why he say that? And he said honor. Over there he said honor. While I was over there, I should have looked up and seen what that word was for honor. This one here is fear. I just gotta say, people do gotta learn to fear they mama.
I know our kids don't.
Well, in general, you have to be commanded, I think, to fear your mama, because mom's saying
the new school moms.
Oh,
The old school moms was kind of
the old school moms was
scary.
the same. Wait till your daddy get out, and you gonna get it, right? That's what the old school moms would say that too. They might do something to you, but then you still have to wait for your father to get out. But over here he said, fear every man his mother and his father. You already gonna fear your father, but fear your mother and your father, because you got to learn that you got to fear them too, because they're mommies, they're soft. They're not just was looking at something, and it was pretty good. This guy that I sometimes look at on YouTube, he was talking about the family dynamics and everything. And hold on, I can't find my cursor. I gotta put myself up here real quick. He was talking about the different roles and things, because mommies, they're soft, and they're nurturers. They're nurturers, right? They can't do all things. Men, we're made to, we're created to be warriors. We're created to go through tough things and it be okay. Like we might be able to go through a particular situation and just be okay with not be okay with the situation, but be okay with going through the situation. And mommies, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you don't care about this, but we do care, but we're able to function still because we're protectors, we're hunters, we're gatherers, right? Our mommies, they're softer, right? They're nurturers. Oh baby, it's okay, it's gonna be all right. Okay, so in general, when you talk about the mommy, you're not really fearing the mommy. You're not fearing the mommy. You're fearing your daddy. So when you think about over here, they have it reversed. It's reversed. You look at other places, it says, honor your father and mother. But over here, it's reversed. I think that it has it closer to this thing over here. Mother's closer to this thing over here because it wants to remind us that, she's mommy still, right? Because this word over here, this is a different word, right? We're looking at the commands revisited is what one of the things that the the rabbis bring up. We're revisiting the commandments one way or another. And when we look over here, again, if we remember, honor that father and mother. What's that word over there? Honor? I don't want to have to go back over there. Flip back over there and see what it is real quick. Because I'm looking to see what this one is.
What was, can you tell me the exact verse?
12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because this one here is Yahweh, which is to fear, which is to revere, frighten, affright, afraid, dread, fearful. But that one, I'm sure, is different.
Kabad.
Okay.
Kabad.
Right. So
Kavod,
you need to
Kavod, put weight.
On your father and your mother. They're weighty matters intrinsically, right? Your parents are intrinsically weighty. The things that they say is intrinsically heavy, just by a simple fact of that. That's who they are, right? Okay, we got to keep on going because there's a lot of things over here. Okay, so we have that. We have the 5th commandment, and we have the 4th commandment. You shall keep my Sabbaths. In various areas, when you look, there's 3 things in the scriptures that are called Shabbat. If we're going to put an S on it, we could say Shabbats. You have the weekly Sabbath. You have the Day of Atonement. And you have the land rest. These 3 things are called Shabbats. The other things are like Shabbat, being the feast days, the Shabbaton, the Shabbatonim, right? And so that's Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? That's Shavuot, right? That is the Day of Trumpets. That is Sukkot. That is the last great day. All of those days are all Shabbaton, but they're not literally called Sabbaths. So this is why I'm thinking about this over here, where we had this word here that was
It's my Sabbath.
oh, so that thing that they did with it makes it be mine.
It's making it
Oh.
possessive.
Okay. But is it still plural though?
Yeah.
You talking about when you put the toe in there?
Tie.
Or
the
the
end.
tie in?
Okay. Which I think that what we could simply say with that is that it does take it out, extending it beyond just talking about the weekly Sabbath, because there are other things called Sabbath. I just wanted to bring that out, that technically there's only 3 things that are called Shabbat. I always like to say that. All right, so let's keep on going. We went down to 4. Turn you not unto idols, nor make to yourself molten gods. Right? Turn you not unto idols. So this is kind of like making it be like 2 aspects of it, right? Turn you not, don't you turn to an idol.
Yes.
And don't make yourself an idol. And so you're not supposed to deal with, turn towards, idolize a thing, even though it ain't my thing. Somebody else could have a thing, and then I idolize it. This is saying don't do that. But not only don't do that, don't make it for yourself. So don't get somebody else's and then take that on to yourself. Don't let somebody give you one. Don't just idolize someone else's from afar. Don't turn to it at all. What's this word here? Panah. Don't let your face turn towards it. Don't let your whole face turn towards it. Don't turn your head towards it, and don't make it. And then he puts the exclamation point on it. I am Yahweh your Elohim. We talked about the exclamation point the other day. Okay, and so 5, did we read 5? Here, read 5 through 8.
It says, "And when you offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto Yahweh, ye shall offer it, that ye may be accepted. It shall be eaten the same day ye offer it, and on the morrow. And if aught remain until the third day, it shall be burnt with fire. And if it be eaten at all on the third day, it is a vile thing, it shall not be accepted. But every one that eateth it shall bear his iniquity, because he hath profaned the holy thing of Yahweh, and that soul shall be cut off from his people."
Okay, very good. So we're talking about doing things that cause us, I don't want to say cause us. We're doing things that keep us in the realm of holiness. The Most High said that we are a holy people, and so we need to be doing holy things. And these are those said holy things. And so he's given us all these things. We talked about this actually some weeks ago. What is brought up kind of is this is a list, right? We have a list of things, behaviors, ways about us that we need to be taking care of when we are about the business of living, walking in holiness. And so this actually is something that causes you this when you do this thing, it causes you to not even be part of the people anymore.
Okay. Removed from the holy people.
You get kicked out. Like this is a removable offense. And so what we're looking at here, it gives you all the things that you should be doing to remain set apart. And then it also gives you some things here that could cause you to cause yourself to be like this thing in verse 7. When you eat this vile thing, you kind of become vile yourself. You're profane. Oh, these words probably aren't the same, but they have the same meaning. Look at this here. So in verse 7, the 3-day-old offering is abominable. It stinks. Fetid. That's interesting. Unclean. Stinky. Okay? It's a vile thing. But once you eat the vile thing, it causes you to be profaned. It causes you to be halal. To bore, dissolve, profane, break one's word, wedge. There's like a wedge. There's a thing that's driven between you and the Most High. You're supposed to be set apart unto the Most High, and then doing this particular thing causes there to be a wedge between you and the Most High. It's interesting because when we think about abominable things, there's a list of abominable things. It's not a long list. It's interesting that this is on the list, that this makes the list. That's interesting. But there is a list of these abominable things, these things that cause there to be a wedge between you and the Most High.
Yep.
All right, let's keep on going here. Let's go. Let's look at 9. Oh, this is good. Let's look at 9 through 9 and 10.
And when you reap the harvest of your hand, thou shalt not wholly reap the corner of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleaning of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather the fallen fruit of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am Yahweh your Elohim.
Okay, very good. So if we talk about the idea of the law of the Most High causing us to manifest the character of the Most High, the Almighty calls for us to care for those that aren't able to care for themselves. And so everybody might not have been able to have farms and things, or maybe their farm got destroyed, devastated. Maybe they had a bad year, right? And so for the needy, for the have-nots, and for the stranger being one who, the stranger, of course, if he's a stranger, he don't have land, right? So he's a stranger. And so all of those people, the stranger and the poor, unfortunate ones, what do they have? The scripture here says they have the stuff that falls off, and they have a particular amount, the corners of the field. One of the I was listening to one of the rabbis talking, and I was moving around, and I didn't get to hear what the word was. I want to look it up and see if I could find it here. Let me see what because he said something interesting. Because it says, "You shall not wholly reap the corner of your field." But how do you determine what the corner is? The corner could really be like, so if I got like a thing right here, a corner like this little piece on top is a corner, right? That's a corner, but all this is a corner, right? So what's a corner? It's like, is it the smallest corner I could make? What's a corner? Go ahead, what you think it is?
What if I have like a round field, like it's round?
Well, I'm pretty sure that this is, now a round field for you might be bad, because this corner might be, it might be borders. Oh no, this is a different word. So this is pa'ah. This is mouth.
That's interesting.
This is mouth.
A region.
Direction, extremity, corner, and quarter, side. I don't know. I don't know if that was a word either, because I'm pretty sure it was a
the
two.
edges.
It was a 2-letter word.
Oh.
Because he did the numerical value of the word, and then he was like, then he made it be a fraction.
So
So he came up, yeah. So he came up with like a 60th of your harvest.
What? That's a small amount.
Maybe he said a 16th. I think he said a 16th. I think he said 1/16 of your harvest.
Pots.
I'm not sure if that's the word though. But I'm saying that just to say the text is unclear as to what a corner means. Not what it means, but like what is it?
How much?
Like how big is the corner? But when you think about everybody's corners, right? You got everybody's corners
Edges.
and you got everybody's fruit that's falling off. You really should have enough, an overabundance for that matter, for those, the poor and the stranger. Right? They're taken care of. Which is the point. All right, let's keep on going. 11.
It says, "Ye shall not steal, neither shall ye deal falsely, nor lie to one another."
Okay, very good. So these are kind of self-explanatory. So it's interesting that these are next to each other. You shall not steal and the gleanings, right? Because there's got to be a fine line between stealing and the gleanings, right? If it says, don't wholly reap, then did you have to wait until they reaped and then they had the stuff that they didn't reap on the edges? Or could you, before they reap, go ahead and get your corners, whatever the designated corners was,
Put some sign.
but you could potentially go beyond the corners and get into stealing. You know what I mean? Like if you start going crazy with the reaping of the corners, getting greedy, you getting into. I feel like you gotta wait. I feel like you had to wait until the field was reaped so that then you could go and get what was left. It seems like that's probably how they did it. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, they said don't reap all the way, don't reap the whole thing, just reap up to a
Yeah, and the
certain
stuff
amount,
that you
and
don't
then-
reap is the corn. So it
and
got to
then
be
they
like
come
that.
and
It
get
had
it.
to be like that.
That is interesting how then it goes and you shall not steal.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that the olives of the land are very expensive harvest foods. So they would literally have people guard the olive groves.
Oh, because people try and get their
Because people would
get their
try-
reap.
They would come in and they would try to take the olives. And then even they were saying, I can't remember which feast it was, but
I mean, if you got an olive tree on the edge of your
of your border.
you got like a whole tree.
Yes.
That's a come up. All right, let's keep on going. So 12.
It says, "And ye shall not swear by my name falsely, so that thou profane the name of thy Elohim. I am Yahweh."
Okay, very good. So again, remember when we think about these verses here, again we're seeing the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
We're seeing some other things too, but we're also seeing the Ten Commandments, right? We've seen 4, 5. We've seen stealing. We see lying, false witness, bringing the name of the Most High to nothingness, right? Profaning his name. We're seeing all of these various commands that point us back to the 10 words, the 10 commands. 13.
It says, "Thou shalt not oppress thy neighbor nor rob him. The wages of a hired servant shall not abide with thee all night until the morning."
Okay, very good. So it's interesting. It's interesting when we look at 13 here. We have in the Torah various things that talk about the idea of not becoming like the ones who once had you. Israel coming out of Egypt, coming out of oppression, was told, don't be like your oppressor and become an oppressor of your neighbor.
Right.
It's interesting because oftentimes, oppressed people become oppressors because it's, they have this behavior that they've learned and they just continue in that behavior. Right? And so, again, we have these things that the Most High is saying for us we have to be literally told not to do these things, because this is what we would probably naturally do if nobody didn't tell us not to do it. We look at this here. Let's look at this word here, oppress. So we're making sure we're not out here oppressing people. Ashach, to press upon, to oppress, fraud, violate, overflow, get deceitfully, deceive, defraud. It's interesting that they put this here, your neighbor, don't oppress them, don't rob them. And then also, if you working with him, right? If you done hired him, give him his money. Give him his money. Don't sit up there and hold the money until the morning. If you, it's funny because when you think about the way that we do things, we think it right for us to work a whole week and then get paid like at the end of a weekly cycle. Some people have a 2-week cycle that they have. I remember when I was down on my luck. Remember when I was down on my luck and I was working at Labor Ready. Labor Ready, you went to work, and then after work you came back from the job that you was at, and then they gave you money just right then. So you did the work, and then whenever you was done, you got the money. The only time was different was if you worked like a late shift, like if you worked like second shift, like at nighttime. First thing when you came in the morning, you would come back and you would get it. But if you work, like if you went there in the morning and got off in the afternoon, you got paid at the same time. And that's a strange thing. But when you think about how they got this here set up here, you do the work and you get money straight away. This must be like a westernized thing where they sit up there and hold. Oh, you know what? This thing's bankers.
Yeah.
They probably made it up. Because somebody collecting interest on that money while you waiting, probably.
And then, the transactions cost money as well. like wiring money.
The
and-
banking system is wicked. All the way around.
So they need to get their cut.
It's wicked and new.
But I mean, I think that a timely pay is a reasonable thing because people that's part of defrauding people and robbing them.
Yeah.
They do something for you, that you have this contractual agreement and then you don't. The other side doesn't follow.
Yeah, and it's like a bully tactic a little bit too. Like, I got your money, I'll give it to you. Just go ahead and do that thing over there. Yeah, as soon as you get that over there, then I'm gonna give it to you. I did the thing now, boss. Well, yeah, just get that one thing over there right quick, and then I'm gonna give it. It's like you holding the thing over top of something. It's a form of oppression. That's why it's coupled here together. These things go with each other. All right, read 14 because this is an interesting thing here.
Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind. But thou shalt fear thy Elohim. I am Yahweh.
Oh, wait till I know the digital system. That's going to be now. You would think with the digital system, it's going to revert back to the Torah principles, right? Because I could get my money just straight away. It could be like itemized. As soon as I'm like doing stuff, I could get it. Or like if I'm still working hourly, my bank account is growing each hour. You know what I mean? each hour, the things is going up. I don't know how they're gonna do it. All right, but did you read 14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thou shalt not curse the deaf. It's interesting because I feel like it got to be more than just the fact that they can't hear you, so don't curse them. Yeah. Or a stumbling block before the blind.
Yeah.
Like we have to take, I think, extra steps, to care for. This is the character of the Most High, to care for people, those who can't care for themselves. And so if you're already supposed to be, going above and beyond for the deaf or the blind, it's like now you're basically doing two things. You're not helping them. Not only are you not helping them, but you hurting them. And so it's almost like it's a double thing that you would be doing if you were to curse the deaf or if you were to put a stumbling block before the blind. What does it say in our textbook for verse 14? I thought I had something good in here. Yes, it does. Here, let me pull it up. Okay, 14. It's hard to see. Okay, here we go. Where's my... Okay, here we go. Curse the deaf, defame the deaf, or anyone who cannot hear, or so cannot vindicate his own character, nor a stumbling block before the blind. Trip up the blind man, either in sport or malice. Alas, for the prevalence of human callousness and cruelty that render the formulation of such a precept necessary. But this is the part I wanted to look at right here. Deaf and blind are typical figures of all misfortune inexperience, and moral weakness. This verse is a warning against leading the young and morally weak into sin or provoking them to commit irretrievable mistakes. The following are typical violations of this ethical precept. He who gives disingenuous advice to the inexperienced, he who tempts the Nazarite to break his oath, to not drink wine, who sells lethal weapons to weak or dangerous characters. All these transgress the command, thou shalt not put a stumbling block before the blind. Equally, so does the man who administers corporal punishment to a grown-up son. It may make the son forgetful of a filial duty and in blind anger commit an unpardonable offense. Okay, so it takes it beyond just someone who can't hear or someone who can't see, but it's interesting that when we see in the scriptures, oftentimes he who has an ear, let him hear. Right? Where it's not necessarily like everyone has an ear. Right? If you're a human being, you have an ear. But we have this idea of, having understanding, right? And being able to comprehend certain things, right? And these commandments too give the idea of, taking advantage of people who, don't know any but the blind can be those who are ignorant.
That's right.
Right. And so, we can't be kind of part of the ones who are going to sit up here and be taking advantage of people who, are in ignorance. We should actually be doing the exact opposite and helping those who are not able to help themselves.
Right.
All right, hold on. Let's put this back over here, and let's go to. Okay, right here. 15. Hold on. 15. And just read 15 by itself, I guess.
15, ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor favor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
Okay, right. So this is dealing with right ruling as it relates to judgment, right? And so when I'm dealing with making judgments, when I'm dealing with making right rulings, I shouldn't just look at the poor person like, well, let me just take care of this poor person because he ain't doing no better. Even, as it relates to making judgments, right? So if we have a situation where there's two people and I can't favor the poor because I want to, I want to help the poor.
Right.
If we're talking about judgments, right? Because this whole thing is dealing with you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Because it just got finished telling us to treat poor people differently. And then now it says, thou shalt not respect the person of the poor. Wait, I was just supposed to help out the poor person before. But this is in regards to judgments.
Right.
Like if something has happened and now I got to deal with a person and make a ruling based on something. I'm not going to look at the poor person and be like, well, he needs it more than the rich person. So I'm going to give it to the poor person. Right? That's unrighteous judgments. right? And so in regards to judgments, I'm not going to respect the person that's poor. In regards to judgments, I'm not going to say, "Oh, this guy, he's mighty, so he must be right." I can't be a respecter of persons, and I have to give the person who is due whatever they're due based on righteous judgment, and not based on
Position.
any of those things.
Yeah.
Or how they could affect you. Even.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, because they could just be like, I don't want to say off with his head, but they could, or just take your stuff, or they could, whatever they did to that person, they could do to you, like
Yeah.
I think sometimes people are afraid of that retaliation.
Yeah. And either way, when in dealing with judgments, there can't be like these extra, these extra mitigating circumstances, these extra difficulties that come about that make the judgment, like, alter the judgment. It got to be just about what this one did this, that one did that. This is what should happen. It don't got nothing to do with, well, this guy, he's a nice guy, so let me just rule in his favor. Or this guy's always doing bad stuff, so he must be doing it again right here in this situation. Can't be a respecter of persons. All right, let's keep on going. 16.
Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Neither shalt thou stand idly by the blood of thy neighbor. I am Yahweh.
Okay, very good. So we talked about tale bearing when we talked about leprosy. People going up and down. It's funny that
I like how it says go up and down.
And somebody just goes up and down. That's all over the place as a talebearer. Everywhere they go, they running their mouth. They're talking about other people's business all over the place. And so it's interesting that these two things are put together because they kind of go together. Because when you think about the idea of neither shalt thou stand idly by the blood of thy neighbor, it's almost as if like you have the person who's telling, that's going up and down, and then like if somebody's sitting up here telling me about all this bad stuff that somebody done did, quote unquote, and then so if they're telling me about it, they're tale-bearing to me. And so I should sit up there and be like, hold on, you sitting up here tale-bearing? Why don't you shut your mouth? Instead of sitting up here talking all this bad talk about so-and-so. Then I wouldn't be standing idly by while somebody's whole character is being defamed. I'm participating if I'm just like, get out. They did what? That's crazy. All right? So I think that's one way I could be idly standing by, the blood of my neighbor. That guy who jumped over the thing and tackled the shooting guy was not standing idly by watching the blood of his neighbor. He jumped into action. He seen somebody come in and try and shoot his the pastor guy, and he didn't just sit there or he didn't just run away. He didn't run away. He didn't keep on filming. He didn't call 911. He jumped over there.
Or run out the place.
Yeah, none of those things. He did not stand idly by the blood of his neighbor. He ran over there and tackled the dude.
He jumped over the thing first before he tackled the guy.
I know. That's crazy.
I was like, wow, he just had pure adrenaline.
And so it's interesting looking at that. When you think about that, I think this talks about some of
Did
that.
you see that?
I did see it.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to put this on here. I wanted to look at this because this is interesting. Because we could think about this in different ways. You can think about it kind of like when things are happening, and that's the kind of the example here. Let me just put this up real quick. It's so hard to keep this. Focus. Okay, where's my pointer at? Okay, stand idly by the blood of the neighbor. Do not stand idly by, watching with indifference thy fellow man in mortal danger through drowning or attacked by wild animals or robbers without hastening to his rescue. In protecting the life of another, it is permitted to take the life of the assailant, even as in self-defense. The Sifra gives a further application of this verse. If thy fellow man is accused of a crime, and evidence that would clear him of it is in thy possession, thou art not at liberty to keep silence. You know, we live in. Hold on. Oh yeah, I had it. Oh wait, I had it. Oh, it was over here. We live in this kind of a society where, especially, you know, with all of these things that we have going on in our little neighborhoods and things, people, you know, they don't want to snitch, quote unquote. They don't want to tell on people doing bad things. But I don't know how you not telling on someone isn't standing idly by the blood of thy neighbor. If you are able to help someone from a judicial standpoint, and you withhold, you know, your witness testimony, whatever, what have you, you know, that's this command right here. You're breaking it. You're breaking this command. So I think that for the most part, when you have these people who are, you know, kind of living this, you know, this worldly existence, you know, they're not thinking about these types of things anyway. But, you know, somebody who is, in fact, living a life according to the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High, you know, we got to know that, you know, if we're able to help someone, for us, if we're able to help someone, and then we don't help the person, you know, these things, these words is calling that sin. These words is calling that sin. Okay. All right, what time is it? 8:26. Let's see here. All right, let me just do 17 and 18, and then we'll be done with this for now.
It says, "Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt surely rebuke thy neighbor, and not bear sin because of him. Thou shalt not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh."
Okay, we definitely can't be out here bearing grudges against people. There's some grudgeful people out here in this world. Grudgeful people. That's a word, ain't it? Oh, you just was, just holding bitter grudges. You know, if you sitting up here trying to live a life according to the Most High, you sinning out here when you holding grudges right there. Nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Don't do that. Vengeance, if you sitting up here trying to figure out how you could get paybacks from that time that one person did that one thing to you, that's what vengeance is, right? You out here sinning. Avenge. I need to get my get backs. I need to punish this person for that thing that they did to me. I ain't never gonna treat them persons right because they ain't treat me right. People out here holding grudges against you. You know that? Huh?
Talk about me.
Yeah. People got some bitterness in their heart against you, boy, out here. It's crazy. He said, don't hate thy brother in your heart. Is that a different kind of hate? Like I can hate you like outside, but
in my mind, in your mind.
But in your heart, he said, don't hate him. I like how that's added. It don't just say don't hate thy brother. You could stop right there. But it say don't hate thy brother in thy heart.